sitting type of, hold on. All right. All right. And hear me okay? All right. Now, I'm sitting down for this type of exercise, okay? Because this is a going to be a seated type of meditation, okay? Now, in this new age, there is lot of a lot of attention on mindfulness and wellness and everything of that nature. But there are thousands of different meditations. There are thousands of wellness techniques, okay? But what people don't seem to realize is that each one has a specific purpose, okay? And some are geared for chronic relief, some are geared for the mind, some are geared for emotions, okay? So when you research and you try to figure out different meditations like on YouTube or something, a lot of people don't take this into consideration, right? What is this meditation for and for my specific purpose? Now, don't get me wrong, right? Any type of meditation can kind of give you an overall holistic help, okay? But there are more potent meditations and there are more potent techniques designed for a certain purpose, okay? Now, specifically, I want to get right to it, right? In your specific case, from you had an obstruction. When I say obstruction, okay, and you have certain natural feelings are supposed to be. To go back to my first point about for certain situations, if we were to do a sit still and when a thought comes in a situation, okay. Story short, because I would have to short is that you at the induction anymore, okay, where you are supposed to that. And so what you are going to do, okay, how this, and I'm going to send you something about these points, okay, and then when we talk more, I can get more in detail about the history, okay, and a lot of underlying principles to be able to maintain this, right? So this is called a microcosmic orbit meditation, okay? So basically, I'll give you a small definition of what microcosmic orbit is. Okay, without using too much hokey or spiritual talk, right? So basically, the microcosmic orbit is you have a biofield, naturally. Some people call it an aura, okay? But everyone has a bioelectricity field, okay? You actually have three layers when it comes to your body, right? You have your physical, like the skin, okay? You have a layer underneath that, where's the fascia, okay? But you also have another layer underneath that, and it's kind of invisible. Okay, what's going on, people? I know it's been a minute, right? But you also have a layer underneath that, okay, called the energy body. Okay, now what this microcosmic orbit meditation does, okay, is when you have some type of external force pulling at you, okay, and trying to hinder your natural flow, okay, your natural state, right? This specific circular fashion of that gets blocked. Okay. Now, with this microcosmic orbit meditation, you are going to reestablish that. So, if you have a problem with feeling like natural emotions with like love, or feeling like, I don't want to use the word lust because that has a very negative connotation, but your sexuality, stuff like that, right? Rather than harnessing and going straight to that point, what's going on, people? Rather than going like, okay, I'm going to focus on this, or I'm going to focus on that, with the microcosmic orbit meditation, it will naturally figure it out itself. Okay. And then when we talk later on the DM, I can teach you how to maintain that. Okay, because 9 times out of 10, there is going to be a specific point that constantly gets blocked. Okay, and that's when you're gonna have to focus on, right? Now, let's get to the gist of this. Okay, because you're gonna have to use your imagination. Now, I want you to imagine like a marble. You ever play one of those games, those arcade games, where there's like this ball or whatever, and it's like you have like this machine and you hit the ball and it goes things like that. Okay. I want you to imagine like that marble, but that marble is constantly circulating your body. Okay. Now, when something tries to obstruct that marble will get stopped, right? So what you want to do is the marble moves on its own. You don't have to do anything. It's just like your digestion. Tell your body to keep it at a specific amount of degrees. You don't have to tell your body to digest your food and this acid and that acid. It happens on its own. Okay. So when this ball that I'm speaking about that constantly circulates your body, it happens naturally. I know this is like a very simple like probably your first time dealing with this type of terminology, okay, it is very, okay, is this type of, I don't want to call it a, not a warning, but I don't, a, a helpful tip. How about that, right? So you are focusing on this ball around your body, an obstruction at a point where it's hard for this ball to pass through there, right? You can do two, okay? And the second, okay, because you don't want to, okay, the body already knows what it wants. Very simple, okay? Now, if you're doing this microcosmic orbit meditation, so it's not going to end. You may feel or think about something that triggers like your memory and things of that nature. Is the word is for is called home. Be like, oh, finally. So I sent you the chart or whatever where these points are at. Okay. Now take about your fingers below, right at this point. Do first of all try to calm down. Rain or put some music in your ears, whatever. I want you to put your mind right at that point. And if it's hard to do it without your hands, can, or without your hands, you can put your hand right at the Dantian point. You can you can hold it, put your mind in your Dantian. Okay. This point right here is the biggest energy source in your body. Okay. So when it comes to these forces trying to pull at you and take something out, this right here, they can never really out pull, basically, right? If you get lost in the sauce out and about, you can, okay? So put your mind there. I just want you to breathe in and breathe out. Now imagine this dense smoke on it or you're blowing to heat up. Imagine like the charcoal turning red the more you breathe. Okay. It doesn't have to be charcoal. You could just be a light or something, or you turn on the stove. Once you feel that, there is a, I'll give you one more now makes difference, a mathematical equation, right? So it's called Jing, Qi, and Shen. Okay, Qi is, you get it from this Dantian point. Okay, what your body does is that it'll transform it into Jing. Jing, Jing is your vital essence, and this is what we are trying to restore here when we are doing this type of macrocosmic meditation. Okay, your vital essence isn't something that the enemy can take. Okay, it's who you are. All right. Sometimes when we go outside or whatever, we have a lot of externals pulling at us, forcing our way into our peripheral to kind of forget how what our, so when you are doing this, your chi that you're building up in your dantian will transform into jing, your vital essence, which is stored in your kidneys. Okay, then it'll transform into shen, okay, which is the spirit or the soul, the light in someone's eye. Mhm. So that's why we start right here. Okay. So after we do this, okay, now the chart that I sent you, which you can try to imagine that, and if it's hard, physical touches. So start with the Dantian point, an inch below your skin. Okay. Now I know that sounds crazy, but what you're doing is you're connecting to the energy body, okay? The biofield body, right? So rather than the surface of the skin, go an inch past it, right? Now here's this ball. Start at the Dantian point and move it along the points of the chart that I showed you and let it happen naturally. It'll move down, down, and then it'll go up. Now, if you get stuck at a certain point where it starts to feel like you're losing control or it's like getting sucked in or whatever, just go beneath the skin and it'll happen naturally. Okay? You won't have to force it. And each one of these points here, here, chest, stomach, back down and down and down. Now, what sometimes will happen is that you'll get such a flow that it'll go vroom, vroom, okay? If you get lost in the sauce and it starts to flow really fast, go back to the base point, okay? So right here, and one more thing, you take the tip of your tongue and put it at the roof of your mouth, right? I know that sounds crazy, but gently. What this does is that it'll connect your heart and your mind. You put the tongue at the tip of the roof of your mouth, gently though. And it has a different rhythm. It may change between circulation. Okay, and sometimes your body may start going like this, right? It might start like a ball. You can focus on a sensation on the chart that I showed you. Okay. Now, another thing that may happen sometimes is that here's both sides of your body, and here's the point. For example, if we're talking about the point on the back of the skull right here, sometimes the point will pierce through on the other side instead of going over the body. The point may go through to the next point. Okay, what you want to do is just go back to the point. You can kind of like reset and just go back to that point. Your body will naturally flow through. This is what your body does. You don't have to tell it. All you got to do is refocus. Okay. Or you can go to the very next spot on the chart. Remember, go an inch beneath the skin. And it also helps if you feel like that pressure is piercing through to the other one to just straighten your back and straighten your head. Great. All right, so what you want to do now, after you finish, is put your mind back on your done. Dantian is here's your belly button. Take 3 fingers and breathe like it go out. This is what condense everything. Now, a lot of the stuff that I would like to tell you would be easier if I type it to you, okay, in the DMs. That way you can remember it a lot easier, okay? All right. Here's your first meditation. Let me know if you got any questions.